Hello, good afternoon. My hair is going to drive me crazy. I haven't been on here in a couple of days, but it was a long day today, like really long day. I always love what I do when I get in there and I teach. I'm a little bit hoarse today because I don't know why I project so much when I'm teaching it and I'm only talking into the screen. But some classes, when, I don't know, I get excited or I have a lot to say, I don't know, I get hoarse. And when I sit here and talk to no one for hours afterwards. So anyway, today was the kind of day where I taught, that was long, and then I had things to grade and tests to go over and all of that. And you're like, somebody breathe. Oh, maybe me. Maybe I should breathe. But the reason I say that is today was kind of a fun class. Today was respiratory system day. So it's a day that the students get to review the respiratory system, but I get to actually share some neat things. And I love this whole thing about breathing. So I do some things with my students in class, and it's really kind of fun. I talk to them about the importance of breathing deeply, the things I've been talking to and teaching some of you and reinforcing for others. I also get the opportunity to just take them through different ways of breathing and what it feels like when you breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth, when you breathe open mouth, exhale, open mouth, or when you inhale and then exhale with just pursed lip, which is like a little opening. I talked to my students today about how important it is to not take breathing for granted. And those of us who are fine, who are breathing fine, we do take it for granted. But once you're that person who's had COVID, once you're that person who has asthma or any kind of respiratory difficulty, struggle, then you know what I'm talking about. And so I love teaching this subject in my pathophysiology class because not everybody realizes that, dang, when you can't get your breath, you can panic, you get exhausted, you get a headache, and ultimately it could be extremely detrimental and fatal if you don't breathe. But I get the opportunity to teach my students just some things to think about. And of course, for us as a physical therapist, for me, when I work with a patient, that is on the forefront of my mind, for them to get enough oxygen so that the rest of their body functions. So I get the chance to do that every day. And when I'm teaching students who are up and coming, I get the opportunity to work with them and to bring it to light. So one of the things that I love to do, and I don't get to do it as much when I'm teaching on Zoom. Hi, Anna. I love being able to teach my students what it's like to not be able to catch your breath well. Anna, you might remember me doing this. Do you remember how I used to, I don't know if you were in that cohort. I think you were. When I had you guys breathe through, just do a lap around the second floor. And then I had you breathe in through a straw. And then I had you breathe in through a coffee stirrer that was an even tinier little straw. Do you remember that? Students remember that. Well, it's hard to do that on Zoom because not everybody's going to do it, or they don't have a straw or whatever. But today I had some of the students do it. And the reason I do that, and if you're a former student of mine, you know how I always try to plant the importance of empathy and of just being aware of where your patient is. And so with my students, I get them to do that breathing. Like, try to take some breaths through a straw, and you can't cheat. So you have to hold your nose and breathe in through a straw. And it's hard. And on campus, I actually get you. You do remember that, Anna? That was not fun. You guys, you get short of breath, and they make them do a lap, and they have to plug their nose so they can't cheat, and it's not easy. Hey, Anna, I've gotten the technique down a lot better so that students don't get a headache anymore, because I get them to breathe really deeply, clear out their lungs, and do all that. And it's not a running thing. They walk slowly. I'm not walking behind them and making them plug their nose. But Anna, share with the class. Do you remember what the topic was? Do you still remember why it was so important for me to do that, what the diagnosis was, and everybody walks away changed that day, because it's one thing for me to just talk about it. It's another thing for me to show a video. And that day, they all know that it was this tiny little glimpse of what it's like to be in the life of someone who has cystic fibrosis, and where they cannot get enough air in because their lungs have mucus in them. And of course there's a malnutrition component to that too, but right now I'm talking about the lungs and how difficult it is. And people with cystic fibrosis didn't used to live very long, and now they're living longer and better lives. But my students, it's the only opportunity that I have to take them as close as I can to what it's like to not be able, it was COPD, it was cystic fibrosis, but it was in there, right? So it was obstructive disease, so condition. So here's the thing. When you and I have a problem breathing, or I have a straw in my mouth and I'm trying to breathe through that and I plug my nose, you and I both know that at any moment you can unplug your nose, you can take the straw out. But here's the thing, someone with cystic fibrosis, someone who has chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD or emphysema or anything like that, they don't have an option. They do not have an option. So why do I take you through all that? One is, do that for yourself. Like, if you're brave, get a straw, put it in your mouth, seal your mouth around it, hold your nose, and just walk a little bit around your house. Please don't run like that. Just walk and see what it's like and how hard it is. And think about even the people now with COVID who cannot catch their breath. And it makes you, such a tiny little ridiculous example of what it's like to be in the shoes of someone who can't breathe well. And so for that, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Take opportunities through the day to breathe in that fresh air. Exhale it all the way out to clear out those lower lobes. Get rid of the stale air, the CO2 that's just sitting around doing nothing. And then bring in some fresh air. Do it. You can. Maybe some of you are having difficulty and you cannot. So take these moments. Go ahead and take these moments too. And now do it with me. If you're driving, pay attention to what you're doing. But breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in. And what it's like to catch your breath and exhale. And breathe in. Nice and deep. And if you don't do this regularly enough, when you take a few deep breaths, usually by about deep breath 3, you might even get a little bit lightheaded. That's because your brain doesn't know what to do with all that extra oxygen. But woohoo, do it anyway. Okay, so you breathe in, exhale, and then breathe in, arms up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And breathe normally. I don't know about you, but it clears my brain. And I feel focused, and I feel like I can continue what I'm doing or go on to the next task. Do that. Do that for yourself, and think about people who can't, and how much we take it for granted, right? Well, anyway, I hope you have a great evening. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and I'll be seeing you again really soon.